online, but, okay, our first order of business today. A continuation, Frederick and Patricia Eppinger, 32 Hayward Lane, by J.C. Engineering, map 50, parcel 10. The proposed construction of a detached garage. Work will occur within the 100-foot buffer zone to the top of a coastal bank and within the Pleasant Bay ACEC. And hopefully we've got some folks online. Sam, good morning.
Hi, yes, good morning.
If you could just introduce yourself for the record.
Yes, certainly. Sam Imelli with JT Engineering.
And just go through your presentation for today.
Sure, certainly. So just to recap here, this is a proposal for a detached garage at 32 Hayward Lane. We have submitted some revised site plans along with additional materials in response to the comments we had at the last meeting. So first off, we did start by looking at alternative locations for the garage. However, the ACEC encompasses a majority of this property, so to site the garage completely outside of the ACEC could not be achieved. So we did, however, come up with a plan to mitigate for the garage by planting a number of native trees, shrubs, and grasses around the property. Looking at the site plan, we've designated 5 areas around the perimeter of the property. Within and closest to the resource areas, these areas will be converted from lawn for these mitigation areas. We have provided a planting schedule with a list of native species names, quantities, and sizes for these proposed plantings. The area calculations also shown on the plan demonstrate that the combined mitigation area exceeds the alteration area for the garage and the driveway. We have also identified an area on the property that has been overgrown by an invasive ivy and would like to remove the ivy and replace this area with native grasses. This area was not included in the mitigation area, but will provide some overall benefit to the land. We have also identified the types and sizes of the trees within the area of the garage that we would anticipate needing to be removed. We've also noted that disturbed areas directly adjacent to the garage will also be utilizing native shrubs and grasses from our list there to revegetate the surrounding area. As for the garage itself, we have provided some preliminary architectural plans to give you an idea of the look and layout of the garage. This will be a single-story, 2-bay garage used for storage and parking vehicles. As for materials, we will be using cedar shingles, white trim, and asphalt roof shingles. The color scheme will be consistent that of the main house. We have also prepared a profile view of the garage along with some site photos to give you a sense of the views that can be seen from the bay. Currently, there are a number of tall trees that exist within the bank and along the 50-foot buffer, which will provide some visual screening. So it's likely only the silhouette of the garage can be seen through the tree line. And with that, I'd be happy to elaborate on anything or answer any questions the board may have.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, commissioners. Who wants to start? Tim, go ahead.
Okay, I still have a problem because the garage is still in the ACEC. I want to thank you for the mitigation and such. I also do not like all the trees that are being removed in the area of the garage. I know that's probably the only place you can put it, but I'd like to hear from other commissioners on their thoughts. That's it.
Jenny?
I agree with Tim. It's nice that there's mitigation, but it's still new building in the ACEC.
Dick?
I think we're just in agreement right now that the location isn't really working for us. I do see that the mitigations have improved the view from waterway. Let's just continue to proceed with questions, and we'll go from there.
Judith?
Yes, I have to say that I'm also in agreement. It's good to see some mitigation. For me, this mitigation does not come close to compensating for the negative impacts as a result of new structure within the ACEC, the loss of habitat based on the removal of all the trees, what will likely continue to be negative impacts to our criteria for fitting in with the natural environment, and just cumulative impact. This property is pretty much between the guest house, the pool, the driveway. Now to add a garage, this is really just corner-to-corner development of the lot, which within the ACEC is just not anything that I believe is acceptable or consistent with our regulations. So I'm guessing, I don't know, I don't have any kind of recollection to it, but I'm guessing that the guest house was probably a garage to start with. It's not for us to design projects, but perhaps the owners should think about converting the guest house back to a garage, if a garage is in fact something they feel is very important on this property. Thank you.
Jerry?
I don't have much except just to put in my 2 cents of, taking down 12 trees, and you're putting in 6 really on the side away from the house. That doesn't really do a lot where the tree locations are. I'm not really pleased to have something built in the ACEC.
Yeah, so I would echo Jerry's concern about losing 12 natives and only getting 6 back. At the very least, we would want a 1-to-1 and probably a 2-to-1 with native tree replacement. The mitigation itself just barely makes a 1-to-1 for the square footage that we're losing with the garage and the ACEC, and again, that is not enough in the ACEC. We're looking for no adverse impact. We're in fact assuming it does have adverse effect because it's in the ACEC. The mitigation itself, quite a bit of it is on the coastal bank, and some of it, a good portion of it, about half of it, is very close to mean high water. I don't see a long-term survival rate for some of that stuff that's right at the bottom of that bank at the mean high water mark. I think, first of all, we'd want more mitigation, a lot more. And second of all, we'd be much better off getting rid of all that lawn on that bank over by the pool, adding a lot of woody shrubs and native plantings along the top of the bank to prevent any runoff from even getting down on the bank and getting into the water. There's a lot of lawn area up there that's up for grabs in terms of mitigation. There's lawn all over the place here to the east of the guest house and on the southern side of the property near the pool and between the house and the top of the bank. To Judith's point, this adding a garage really eliminates almost all of the naturalization of this property. So I would look for having the entire lawn area naturalized and at least a 25-foot buffer to the bank all along, except where that pool is, because the pool was built essentially right at the top of the bank. We didn't get any volume numbers for the garage, and in the ACEC, we looked to get not only square footage, but volume numbers, if you could give us that. I heard you say it's a 1-story garage. I didn't know if there was a proposed storage area in the sort of attic of it or anything like that.
No, not anticipated.
Okay.
It'd just be flat floor plan.
We would look for volume numbers. Your plan still cites the Buzzards Bay area in terms of figuring out mean high water. We need that converted to Pleasant Bay.
Yeah, that's actually just the name of the website. They have data points all up and down the coast of Massachusetts. In fact, there was one just in this little Pleasant Bay, very close to the property.
Okay, if you could cite that on the plan, that would be helpful.
Certainly.
All right, I've said a lot. I think one thing that if you choose to move forward, I think you've heard the commissioners are gonna be negative about this project right now. If you choose to move forward, I think another site visit for the commission would be very helpful for us to take a look at the whole site and figure out where enough mitigation would be helpful in order to allow this project to move forward.
But, and to your point, Drusy, I would just emphasize to really look to mitigate the entire property. We're not talking about a fringe of trees at the edge.
Yeah. Okay, Ken?
Hi, good morning, Sam.
Yes.
I just want to start off with a couple, I guess, more clerically oriented questions, but just for my edification, we've been calling this a garage, and then we have some drawings from DMC that refer to the Eppinger barn. Is there a fundamental difference between the two terms, or do you view them as synonyms?
Yeah, sort of. I guess it's just sort of the barn style, but it's a true garage. 2 garage bay doors used for vehicle storage. So I'd be calling it a garage rather.
Okay. I wanted to follow up a little bit on what the other commissioners have said about mitigation. And one of the questions I had for you was, at the last hearing, when we talked about this project, we referred to mitigation in the context of areas of the highest value of placing it. And so personally, I'm flying a little bit blind because we only looked at a certain segment of the property, and it's not really clear to me exactly where it would go, other than Drucy's comments about the location close to mean high water and the coastal bank. So I'm curious about the selection of those particular areas from your perspective. And in a related vein, I need you to talk about the fence, because it seems like it encloses the entire property, and it's something I think that we need to talk about in addition to the other questions we've talked about this morning so far.
Yes. Yeah. In regards to the fence, from my understanding, it's been there for quite some time. It's a 4-foot-high chain link fence. They need some sort of enclosure for the pool that they have. I talked with the agent a little bit about removing of the fence, but it was preferred to keep it where it was, as it exists sort of right along the top of a break and slope. There's also some vegetation that's grown within and around the fence. So to remove it, we have some concerns of, damaging the coastal bank there. As far as, these locations, again, we thought, they provided some value with their proximity to the resource areas, being, sort of closest to the bay, and around the perimeter of the property. Right now they're grassed areas, so there'd be some benefit to removing the grass and planting these native shrubs and trees. Does that sort of answer your question there?
Yeah, it sort of does. It's helpful to get, again, additional perspective. And I just have one more quickie for you. On the schematic of the mitigation, the area calculations, you've got a total of 1,100 square feet even. And then in the mitigation note, it's 990. And I just wondered if that was an intentional discrepancy?
Nope, I caught that after the fact too. The 1100's correct.
Okay.
Played around with several different areas and changed it up a few times, so we just we missed that. But it should 1100's the correct answer as shown on the plan.
Yes, okay. Thank you. That's all I got.
David?
Good morning, Sam.
Good morning.
I don't want to try and sugarcoat this, but I don't see that you're going to be able to come up with mitigation to satisfy the commission that to construct a building in the ACEC, which is a resource area, based on our regulations. I mean, new construction is recommended to be 75 feet away from a resource area. Here, you're 52 and a half. It's a new building, it's in a resource area, so my take is, I don't want you to go down the path and spend time on an elaborate mitigation plan, because I don't expect that it's going to help you in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, commissioners? John, anything?
Well, hey, Sam. Good to hear from you again. And Sam and I have been talking a little bit since the first hearing. I did convey a couple things. I think it has already come up today, that when we did the onsite, it was kind of hyper-focused on the proposed garage site and not the pre-existing condition of the remaining parts of the property, which is large and which occupies multiple resource areas. I do think if you choose to try to mitigate away from the footprint, I agree with some of the previous speakers, a second on-site to view some of the conditions of the property, and we understand they're lawfully existing, but they're poor as compared to our regulations today. So I think we would want a better understanding of them on the site, and maybe even with you, Sam, to see where we can understand how improvements can be made to perhaps offer sufficient mitigation for a barn footprint and volume. The fence, I did talk to Sam about the fence, and when I first looked at the revised plan showing the mitigation areas, the fence just jumps off the page at you, because the entire site's cordoned off. It's tough. And we had property, few houses down, that had one of these similar old school kind of chain link fences, and we're really trying to move away from that, Sam. I think you need to understand the commission's practice, because that cordons off so much habitat, really affects habitat function. So where you're offering mitigation inside of the fence, you're not having the same function as an open area could have to local wildlife. And specifically, even today, when I'm listening to discussion, the priority habitat is mapped on your site, which tells us that they have found a species hit there of some concern. You could reach out to NHESP, try to understand what that species is, really get into habitat improvement that offers advantages to those species. It's that kind of intense land conversion habitat offering that would be probably, listening to the commissioners this morning, be needed on the rest of this property to offset new construction in our local resource area, the ACEC. And if you haven't read the preamble under Chapter 8, it's those anthropologic and anthropogenic perhaps effects, so much of which is on this site, that take away from that area that the commission holds in such high regard. So I think you knew you had a high bar. It sounds like you still do, but good to hear. Good to talk to you again.
So Sam, how would you like to move forward on this?
Yeah, so I've heard all your concerns. I think as you mentioned, if we could maybe set up a site meeting to see if there is maybe an area of mitigation that we can, get to in order to move forward, or, if it's not worth moving forward at all on this. But I would love to set up a site meeting and meet on site to kind of discuss.
David, did you have a comment?
I just don't want to waste Sam's time, and I think I see a lot of the other commissioners nodding here, and I'm not so sure proposing additional mitigation, no matter what you do, is going to push this over the top. So I just want to make that comment.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair. If we got rid of the fence, improved wildlife corridors, mitigated the entire rest of the property to naturalize it and provide the type of habitat, it might, I don't know what other commissioners think.
It might.
It's possible that would be enough. But again, I think you're sensing, Sam, that you've got a hard lift here.
Yeah, I mean, that was sort of from my comments too. I didn't want to completely close the door, but what I was trying to get at is, as previously said, it's not just the square footage for mitigation of the garage. That is the last naturalized area. So to compensate for a new structure, the loss of the last naturalized area, any negative impacts to wildlife, possible negative impacts to the view, I mean, all of those regulations that this hits up against, for me, the entire property would have to be naturalized. So no more lawn. Putting in natural species trees that would help screen the house, the pool, the guest house, the new garage from the view shed. I mean, it would be, and get rid of the fence, completely restore habitated areas, is that a word?
Habitable.
So that's, I appreciate David being very, very clear, because I share his concerns about chasing you back to come back with something, or going on site to say, well, this little area would be nice to plant some natives. That's really not, I can't speak for everyone, but I think we kind of can speak for everyone to say, that's not what we're looking for. This whole property would have to be naturalized in order to see our way clear, in order for it to be able to meet our regulations. So it's a really high bar. Just need to have you and the owners understand that.
So,
Yes, yeah.
yeah, and then I think, and I know, Sam, the commission frequently looks at even the first 50 feet, which is probably more than half of this lot, and a lot of it's occupied by lawn and building and pools and stuff that we're not normally doing in the first 50 feet anymore. But if in fact you want to go forward with an onsite after you kind of review, compare notes on your end, we could schedule that next Tuesday. Sam, you would probably need to let us know by Wednesday or Thursday morning at the latest, and we could do that onsite with you next week.
Okay.
And even focus on all the physical improvements that are in the 50. And again, I understand those are good comments by the previous speaker. The performance standard is not no, it's no adverse. But I think it has been emphasized that there are already significant adverse impacts to the ACEC on this lot, especially within the first 50 feet. And that's a lot to mitigate away, given it's a very old standing condition.
Ginny?
One point, we asked at the last hearing if there was any grading that was going to have to happen. So if you do come back, we would want detail on that. And we also asked to have the 75-foot buffer to the coastal bank on the plan.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, Sam, so if you can talk to your clients and see if they want to move forward, and if so, let the office know by tomorrow or Thursday at the latest, I guess.
Okay.
If you want to have us come and visit the site, we have an on-site meeting next week, so we can.
Okay, next
if you
Tuesday
want.
morning.
And in the meantime, we'll need to continue the project till when? When do you want to continue it for? I would imagine more than 2 weeks.
Next meeting is June 16th,
June 16th.
and then July
Yeah,
7th.
and the meeting after that, the first one in July, I
July
suppose.
July 7th, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Is there any public comment on this project?
Walter was on a few minutes ago.
He was. Anyone online, Mia, with hands raised?
No.
Okay. Can I get a motion to continue?
I move to continue the discussion for 32 Haywood Lane to July 7, 2026.
Second.
All those in favor, Tim?
Aye.
Ginny?
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
Judith?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Brucey? I can.
Aye.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you all.
Okay, our next order of business, revised plan request. Christopher Fraley, 21 Little Bay Road, DEP number 54-2689, the proposed addition of a 4-foot-high pool fence enclosure. Pool enclosure fence.
I remember this slide.
I hope we have someone to present this. If you're online, you can, here's a hand raised. Here we go.
They did all.
Morning, Rob. If you could introduce yourself for the record and let us know what this is about. You're on mute.
Thank you, sorry about that. My name is Rob Calderera. I'm with Bohemus Savory De Silva. We're requesting a small plan change to our submittal that includes a small section of fence between the 100 and the 75-foot buffer zone. This is for pool enclosure, and we have recently received a variance from the Board of Health on this in regards to their distance from the pool edge. It's important to keep in mind as well that we have left a approximate 10-foot wide, call it alleyway or critter highway, that connects the resource area to the area beyond. The fence does not go completely across the property line.
So,
Can you share a plan?
Small,
yeah, can you put the plan up? And I had some confusion about the plan, about where the fence sort of seemed open-ended, so I was curious as to what purpose it would
I'm
serve.
guessing it closes and ends outside of the 100, but I don't want to make that
Yeah,
assumption,
no, I
but
couldn't
that kind of,
figure it out.
that's kind of what I think, maybe.
I'm assuming it comes up here,
I thought that
like here.
they were looking for a variance to not have to have a fence because,
Yeah, on the
Had
original
a-
filing, there was a pool cover mechanism.
and they were
Yeah.
going to look for a variance and then come back if they didn't get the variance to eliminate the fence.
So were you,
our client.
go ahead, Rob.
Our client had requested that they have a full enclosure around the pool just for safety purposes. I could share my screen here.
In
So
the-
yes, here is the fence location,
Oh,
and it does
Very
go
nice
beyond-
river.
It's lovely.
and a vernal pool?
We'll approve that.
I wish I could. So the fence, which, as we discussed in the earlier filings, around the pool basically consists of a wall that is that 4 foot high. And then the extension of the fence comes here and then returns back to the new house. So there is a passageway that we've maintained here as plant bed that gets from the bank to, the rest of the property beyond the 100-foot buffer. So it is, again, a small section from here to here within your jurisdiction that we're requesting.
Madam Chair, I think, because you guys were talking, so the approved plan did include an auto cover, no fence. We weren't sure how that was gonna go. The fence, I think, is still the actual requirement in town of Orleans from our
It
other
sounds,
board.
it sounds like when we approved this plan without the fence, the intent of the commission, and I thought the agreement with the property owner, was that they would apply for a variance so that they did not have to have a fence. And instead, they applied for a variance for a larger enclosure, which is counter to the spirit of what we agreed to.
So Rob, did you in fact apply for a variance to have no fence and have the auto cover be the protection for the pool?
We did not. There is an auto cover, but again, the client's preference was to enclose the pool area. And again, we're talking about a very small section of fence here. The property already has enclosure all along these areas. It's just this one little section that is not.
So when we approved the plan, we approved it without the fence. And to Ginny's point, that was, purposeful in terms of wildlife corridors and segmenting the property and line-to-line development and those types of things, cumulative effect, that we are looking for. So it would be my preference if you went back and asked for a variance to use the auto cover as protection for the pool and did not extend fencing in any way. Judith?
May I add that when this plan was approved, you did already have enclosure all along, 80% of this property. We're just talking about, again, a 35-foot section of fence.
I
And
think
yet
we're-
that
we're
section
sort of
cuts off like the one wildlife corridor that exists on the property, so it's an important section of the property. I don't know, Judith, go
So,
ahead.
to me, it doesn't cut it off because, to his point, it does remain open along that one side.
Yeah.
But that's a very small corridor. And where I see two paths that say existing paths to be removed, if there is to be a fence, and I do understand a preference for a fence as opposed to just the cover, if there are young kids, I don't understand why the fence couldn't just right at the other side of the plant bed come up to the house and that be the enclosure of the pool without having to go all the way over to the side of the lot.
Keep in mind, this is the existing structure that was there, not the proposed building that is being built at this point.
Then
Okay.
maybe we need.
So maybe what we need is the existing.
Plan with
Okay, we don't-
No.
It's not in our jurisdiction, so,
David?
So
material.
Oh, I hear you.
I don't understand why the fence has to go so far south. I think we're all kind of fixated on that.
Yes.
And you don't have anything to justify that to us right now.
There is patio space beyond this, in this area that is outside your jurisdiction that the fence would not work with.
We can't do what we can't see.
I don't know. I'm not comfortable with this request with the information we have right now.
Yeah, I think what provides a level of discomfort is we approved a certain development, if you will, an impact to this area based on one particular configuration. And now there's a request for a change to that, but it sort of leaves me kind of wondering, what would we have approved previously if, in fact, we knew that there was going to be this obstruction to the wildlife at a later point in time? I'm guessing it would have been less.
Yeah.
So for me, it's too much for a revised plan when I can't really even picture what it is that we are saying yes or no to. I don't know if this is yet another one that might benefit from a return visit.
Or
And John, I would look to some guidance from you.
Or a more complete plan. I know it's out of jurisdiction, but showing the new house plan and the patios and whatnot, even outside the 100, might give us a better idea of why the fence, you're requesting the fence to be configured the way it is, and might give us an opportunity to have more targeted comments for you.
Understood.
John?
Yeah, my only comment is kind of like the similar application where the plant bed, so the fence it's a small piece of fence in a small piece of our jurisdiction, understood. I think some of the previous speakers' comments about when we approve something with a proposed auto cover, thinking that we're not going to have a fence and then we're back reviewing a fence, I understand that frustration. The plant bed is a native plant bed that was, I think, offered by the PST side and Rob. It's formal, it's herbaceous. Not like other habitats cordoned off from it per se. The lists of the species are below the plan. But I guess, falling back to the original project where I thought the proposal was to not have any of the area fenced. The mitigation that was offered for the redevelopment of really the pool, the house is large and outside of our jurisdiction. The whole site's pretty much a construction site and has been for a bit. The bank has been worked on by Bartlett, and I don't think the new buffer to the top of the bank has been installed yet. All that said, the revised plan request doesn't affect any of that mitigation plan area that we accepted from Bartlett with the original proposal, if that makes you feel any better about the auto cover being part of that and now having a small piece of fence in front of you. But Rob, I think the comments you're getting, I'd like to see if you can address them. Maybe it's a jog, maybe it's, I don't know, as if I need to see how you're utilizing the fenced-in area outside the jurisdiction, because it's really not material to what we're doing here on Tuesday morning. But it might help people understand why, I think we heard about it. It might help you understand that they're trying to circulate to another piece of their property that's outside.
But that section of abandoned path is within jurisdiction. And so, again, and that is now within the fenced area. And so that's, to my point, when I see abandoned path, that existing walkway to be removed.
Yeah. So that was part of the mitigation.
I don't know how we were-
requested, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know we have split rail going down the sides, but I hardly think that's like a cordoned off site, like the one we were talking about previously, but. And I know split rail's still there.
Jerry?
Well, is the fence, if I remember right, you've got a 4-foot wall kind of around the pool. Is the fence on top of the 4-foot
Right.
wall, or does the wall
No,
stop there?
the wall is the enclosure. There is no fence on top of the wall. That is a 4-foot fence on, or a 4-foot wall.
Right.
Retaining this area above.
So this is basically an extension of the wall? Or is it,
That's in essence what it is. The wall returns back this way.
yeah,
To basically minimize the amount of hardscape that we have within the 100-foot buffer. And then that fence would just continue on for that area. Again, we're talking about a buffer zone impediment that is somewhat insignificant. I understand your concerns. To John's point, we do have a split rail on this side of the property, so there's free movement there. There is a 10-foot wide easement on this side that has a proposed split rail fence that runs along this side of the property as well. So theoretically, we have 10-foot wide buffers on both sides of the property that provide access from a habitat point of view.
So again, to my concern, even though it's out of our jurisdiction in terms of cumulative effect and ability of wildlife to travel, because we're not seeing anything outside the 100 on this plan, I don't know how wide that house, I can't remember, how wide that house goes, how much of that is driveway, is the only buffer going to be that little 9-foot and then it gets wedged off? I mean, we need to see a cumulative effect on this property. Although it be out of jurisdiction, it still affects cumulatively the ability of wildlife to travel. So I would like to see the full plan and understand how this fits in.
Understood.
Understanding that we don't regulate that area, we're not.
We don't regulate that area,
Authorized by our
but if
town
it's,
to regulate
if that
outside
area
that
goes completely property line to property line, and the only opportunity we have is to protect what we do regulate, adding additional fencing into it is not something I want to do.
Okay, I get it.
Anybody else?
Rob, I'm going to chime in here that I know how to read maps and plans, and I just need a better view of what you're thinking of here, even when I know it's like you've done your best for me, but I don't, that section coming from the pool south to the corner of the house, that type of idea, to me, just has to be magnified a little bit so I see really what's going on.
And apparently that's not the house now.
And apparently it's not the house
That's
now.
not the house now, yeah.
Yeah, so,
But it's
So, yeah,
yeah,
go,
it's out
Rob,
of jurisdiction, but I hear you. It makes it very hard for us to understand what this is about and what the exact impact is going to be.
so Rob, I see you taking that and blowing it up for us. Could you take your cursor and go through where your fence is proposed to go?
Yeah, you mean past the 100-foot or?
Yep.
So basically there is, hold on one second. Scroll out a little bit.
Probably doesn't look like that anymore, but.
So the fence basically runs back to here and then back to the house here.
Oh, okay.
Actually, no, I'm sorry, it does something like this and then back to the house.
Yeah. Now take us north. Please.
Oh, it's right to the patio.
Did.
North.
Yeah,
So
there's
within,
nothing
within
to
your,
patio.
your jurisdiction, this is the enclosure.
Yeah.
Let me zoom out a little bit.
So I do see.
And the purpose of the fence is for safety reasons?
Purpose of the fence is for pool enclosure, per code.
But you asked for a variance, so it's not code, it's, you're asking for more than is enclosed and is code, because pool fences are tight to the pool.
Yeah, from the standpoint of the pool safety code, the closer to the pool the enclosure is, the better. I mean, that's the point of the it's supposed to keep little kids from falling into the pool and drowning. So the pool fence is really supposed to be 4 feet right around the pool. And I understand people want to expand that so that there can be seating and that kinds of thing. But to expand it further south and then pull it over beyond has nothing to do with pool safety. It just doesn't.
And again, we're just talking about a small section here. This part is already approved and is outside your jurisdiction as far as the pool enclosure goes.
Okay, so I think you've heard what we have to say.
Thank you for that, Rob.
And it's good to see where it's going to go. Straw vote-wise, I would not approve this today. I don't know how other commissioners feel.
I don't even understand why we're talking about this.
You know, we in the original plan, we asked that you ask for a variance with the automatic pool cover, and that's not what you did, so, you know, there's some concern on the commission's side that now we're adding more impact to this property that wasn't originally improved, and, you know, we've got a problem with it.
If I can supply some additional information, is that something that would potentially convince the commission?
Sure, I mean, we can continue, sure, and you can go back and maybe talk to the property owner or see what you can do to reduce the fence or something like that, I don't know.
Not a public
Yeah.
hearing, you can make the next agenda.
Right.
It's-
You're welcome to do what you'd like. We can continue.
Izzy, could I
Yeah,
add something?
go ahead, Jenny.
And one of the things I really need to understand and visualize is what is the impact of the enlarged enclosure, and whether or not enclosing more area requires more mitigation.
Well, yeah, because it looks like those abandoned pathways were part of the mitigation for the pool into our jurisdiction, and if that's fenced off, then that's not, it sort of loses its value as naturalizing and allowing for more creatures to benefit. David?
So, Rob, with your revised materials, perhaps you could look at the reason that you need to extend the pool fence so far southerly? Thank you.
Yeah, maybe look to pull the patio back. That may be what's driving this and creating.
I'm sure it is, but, you know, it's not pool safety, and that's, yeah. Okay, so when would you like to continue this to, Rob?
We can continue it to the next hearing.
Okay, so
Not a
that's,
public hearing, but we can put them on the next agenda.
16th.
Sure thing.
Okay.
is it the 16th? I don't think-
16th.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Be out of Dodge.
Just a big pile of dirt right now, and that's gonna help us. Okay,
How is it, June?
Is
Can-
that June 16th, is that what I understand?
yeah, June 16th.
Thank
How is it June? I'm sorry.
I know. Can I get a motion to continue?
I move to continue the discussion for 21 Little Bay Road to 6/16.
Second.
All those in favor, Tim?
Aye.
Jenny?
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
Judith?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Tracy? Aye. Kent?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Okay, next order of business, administrative review, Matthew Schmidt, 10 Larbert Lane, the proposed removal of 3 pine trees within the proximity of the dwelling and power lines. And we have received a sketch. I don't know if Mr. Schmidt is with us today. I see you there, Matt. Can you introduce yourself for the record and let us know about your plan here?
Good morning, Matthew Schmidt. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Thank you for your time, everybody. I submitted a basic plan as was requested of the property, and I included proposed location for 2 new trees, red maple, and 2 swamp azaleas as the shrubs, as discussed last time. The idea behind the location is that they would be in a place that they would have long-term health and opportunity to grow. They would restore and expand the canopy, and hopefully that's something that everybody is happy with.
Questions? Anyone?
I had a hard time reading this. I know that, again, it may just be my day, but it looks to me like you put the shrubs and trees on the McManus property and not yours.
That might be an old rendering. That's a sewer map that was provided to me for the sewer planning. So I was just using that as my base.
He owns the McManus property now.
Oh, you own the
That is his-
McManus
that is-
property?
that is his
Thank you,
property.
David. I never got that memo.
Yeah, no, this is his
Sorry.
property, his.
Sorry, Matt, now it
Yeah.
makes a little more sense to me. Thank you.
That's okay. That's okay. And the other thing I wanted to add, I kept all the new plantings right up to the marsh, where I think it will do the most good.
Yeah.
So,
It's good. I
so
like it.
this looks good, love red maples, love swamp azalea. Just in terms of numbers, I've completely lost track of this, but there was gonna be, I thought, a 2-for-1 on the pine trees and shrubs replacing 1 on the tree?
We
No.
went with trees and shrubs and discounted.
agreed. I
Sort
thought
of
we agreed.
discounted the oak.
I think we did too.
Anyway, yeah.
Okay, so it was 1 shrub for 1 tree for the pines, and then 2 trees for the,
2 trees and 2 shrubs for the pines.
Yep.
And the oak we're deeming invaluable because it was dying and on the wires, and it is surrounded by other.
so it's not being replaced? Okay, so that's where I,
Yeah.
sorry about that. I just, lots of confusion overall.
It's okay. David?
Do we want to suggest the size for the 2 trees, the caliper?
We do. So, Mr. Schmidt, the red maples that you're proposing should be 2 to 3 inches size caliper when you go to the nursery.
Okay,
And native red maples, of course, not,
Of course.
not Japanese red maples.
Yeah,
Not
correct,
the
native.
little, not the ornamentals, but the native.
yeah, real trees.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Looks like you've done it, Matt.
Okay.
Wow.
Wasn't easy, was it?
So with the stipulation of the 2 to 3 caliper size for the trees, is there anything else, commissioners? Okay.
Just one more comment on my side, just for the sizing, just so that I have the ability to purchase what is in stock. Is there just some room for that in case they say, listen, we have 1.5s ready to go? I want to be mindful of any potential drought issues. I just want to make sure that young and healthy go in. And I just want to make sure I can, when I place the order, they can fulfill it.
I think that's why they give you the 2 to 3 inch. That caliper measurement at the base is indicative of a good size, nursery, stock, standard available tree.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, but I would, the min, I believe is 2.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there a, excuse me, like a, are we going to monitor this?
John will be, I'm sure, in touch with the landowner.
Okay,
John monitors everything.
okay.
Well, but that's a good point, because not on administrative reviews, John doesn't go back to check. So it would be lovely if Matt would invite John to come back and check and
Or you can
verify.
have the property owner notice the office with photographs that the trees have been removed and the new trees have been installed.
That would be great.
With a photo.
Yeah.
I can add that to the notes on the approved AR.
And
Yep.
beyond planting?
3-year survivability.
Yeah,
Not an administrative.
With an AR, we can't.
okay.
That's chosen some durable natives that should like the area that he's chosen on his property. Not too concerned about that.
I think we should assume that Matt likes trees, and that he doesn't want to plant spend
So
money
long as
and
they're not
plant
falling on his
something
house,
that's
we
gonna
understand
die.
that.
I think he's demonstrated that by working with us for the past several weeks.
Yeah. But thank you. Tim.
Agreed,
Okay.
agreed.
All right, can I get a motion?
I move to accept the administrative review for 10
Larbert.
Larbert Lane with the discussed limitations.
Second.
All those in favor? Tim?
Aye.
Ginny?
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
Judith?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Josie? Aye. Ken?
Aye.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate your
Thank
patience
you.
on this one.
Thank you, appreciate your time.
Okay.
Thanks,
Our
bye-bye.
next order of business, administrator's business, approval and acceptance of a conservation restriction at 32 Locust Road. And I have to recuse myself. So Jerry, you're on.
I'm driving. So do we have anybody to present?
Steve's here.
Steve?
Hi, everyone. Steve O'Grady with the Orleans Conservation Trust. I think I can be pretty brief in my intro here. You've all seen a number of these conservation restrictions in your tenure, I think. But so this is the conservation restriction that is consistent with Article 29 that was approved at the May 11th annual town meeting. And this conservation restriction is dual purpose in that it is that conservation restriction that the town is purchasing from the Orleans Conservation Trust to be held by you, the Conservation Commission. And then it is also a conservation restriction that is fulfilling a need of a state grant program, the Massachusetts Conservation Partnership Grant Program that the Orleans Conservation Trust has applied for and received. That's a reimbursement grant. And so we have a very quick turnaround here between that town meeting vote and now we need to get this conservation restriction recorded by June 30th for compliance with that state grant program. So here before you today and then select board tomorrow evening.
Just for the commissioners, I was invited to walk it with Orleans Conservation Trust prior to the town meeting with Christina and Sam and Tom and Steve. It's a really nice piece, especially the natural elements of the first 50 feet and even the elevation is probably even inclusive in the Inner Cape Cod Bay ACEC adjacent to Cedar Pond. There's some vernal features there, very nice, and
Beautiful primordial wetland area. It's really nice.
and with this, I hope today that you can vote
Be nice.
to approve and sign the restriction. I didn't know if I could ask a question. Are you doing the baseline for the property?
I think we'll have to compact Mark Robinson's organization to do that.
Okay.
That's generally what we've done.
I know Meth's in the audience. I have to ask that question, make sure it gets done, and so that's good. And if I can help, I would try to. Haven't walked it already, but thank you.
Hi, Steve, good morning. I was drawn to the red ink in Exhibit A, and I was just curious if you could elaborate on, says this description in the current deed will be DOA at the state CR reviews, parentheses, needs survey. Could you just elaborate so I have a
Yeah.
better understanding of that?
We, as of yesterday, got a draft of a survey plan for the property. So
Okay.
previously, we were working off of the assessor's records and the assessor's map
Okay,
for the lot, and it is now.
so that's all buttoned up.
It'll be buttoned up in the next couple of weeks here. Yeah, we've just received that draft, and
Okay.
so that draft will be recorded with, probably in advance of this document.
Gotcha, thank you.
A little administrative thing I've got, Steve, is that on page 18 of the draft, you list Druzy as the Chair, and since she's recused herself, she can't sign. I also would like David to be able to be added so he can vote today, so we can have a full commission vote on it. So I don't know if we can just handwrite that in, or what? Or do we need another copy of that
Do you have
paper?
any thoughts about that? You know, you have correctly listed our 7 commissioners. We can leave one off as she has recused for this vote. Is that,
I might prefer to go that route. I hear what you're saying, Jerry, but I don't know whether the state will take any issue with,
Handwritten.
well, just kind of changing around. I mean, I don't know enough about,
as far as today, because I heard that you're under a time crunch, perhaps, Mr. Acting Chairman, you could take a vote of those seated commissioners listened. And I know we have a charter provision that allows David to vote in the absence of a standing commissioner. But you haven't listed them here, and I don't know if that's because Mark wanted the 7 members, not alternates.
I also know from select board experience in the past, select board members who have recused themselves from approval of these conservation restrictions have then signed this is really a certification that the vote was taken, right?
Right.
And so even if the member was recused from that vote, I think select board members at least have been comfortable then going on to sign the document that they recused from.
That's,
But I think it would be fine for our needs to leave Drusy off this and have the rest of you sign, just leave that blank. And if David will not take any offense, we will leave him off of this.
Oh, no,
sounds like you're ready for a motion either way.
I think we're ready, yeah. Unless there are any other comments?
No.
Great.
Do we have a motion? Could you?
I move to approve the request for a conservation restriction
32.
at 32 Locust Road.
Second.
All those, can we take a vote? Tim?
Aye.
Jenny?
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
Aye, Judith.
Aye for me. Again?
Aye for me as well.
David is voting, I think.
Yeah,
Can
you
ask.
should vote.
David?
Aye.
That's 7-0-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Passes. Start with Ken.
Okay. Jersey.
I'm not going to. Yeah, that's,
Discussed and accepted.
yeah, that's, yeah. It'll be fine. Thank you, Jerry. Okay, our next order of business, public comment. Does anyone in the room have public comment? Meth, nothing? Anyone online, public comment?
Nope.
Okay, so our next order of business, chairman's business, review and discussion of land subject to coastal storm flowage regulations. So, quick background on this. The state is working on promulgating some new regulations for land subject to coastal storm flowage in anticipation of continuing to wait for those to be approved. The towns involved with the Pleasant Bay Alliance got together, specifically Harwich, Chatham, and Orleans, got together to start talking about doing town-specific regulations for this resource area. Chatham specifically got a grant to get some administrative help on this effort. We've been working with a variety of people. You remember we had people come and present on this, I don't know, a month or so ago now. And then the commission developed a working group consisting of David and Dick and myself to start working on drafting out what these regulations would look like for the town of Orleans. We have been working pretty closely, actually, with Chatham, who is sort of a step further than us in this process right now. They have drafted and already had at least one public meeting to talk about these regulations and get some public input. So we are kind of following that path and have drafted based on what was recommended by the Cape Cod Commission, what the state has proposed, some of the work Chatham has done, and taken all of that material and put it into some proposed revised regulations for Orleans for this resource area. So you got them in your packet, and I'm hoping people at least have questions, if not targeted comments today, so that we can keep this effort moving along and get a final draft in place to start going to the public with, to get public input.
I would like to say that Drusy did most of the heavy lifting on this. She's worked hard on it. I do have a few comments. Start?
Sure.
So, on page 2 of the definitions, under substantial damage, I know Dick commented on this in the email, but the state building code allows an applicant to use the appraised or assessed value for this determination, and I don't think we should digress or diverge from the state regs. I think, I don't want to be punitive on an applicant when they have, it's in the state regulations that you can either hire an appraiser or use the assessed value to do that. I would cross out market there, and then I would also cross out market in substantial improvement below that as well. And then under presumptions on page 2, B2I, do we want to include docks and piers? I mean, docks and piers are built to withstand wave action and things like that. And while they're not allowed in Pleasant Bay, they are still allowed in certain the majority of Pleasant Bay, they are still allowed in certain portions. And the Pleasant Bay group has not changed their map of where they are allowed and where they're not allowed. And I know it's really difficult for someone to build a new pier based on shellfish and things like that, but I don't think the LSCFS regulations should necessarily prohibit docks and piers when we have other regulations that are in our bylaw that allow people to at least apply. The standard to get a new dock and a pier, particularly in Town Cove, where it's a shellfish area, is high, but I wouldn't want to put an applicant or the town in an awkward position by including that in these regulations.
Thoughts, guys?
Well, I suspect that should these regulations go through, the Pleasant Bay Alliance maps would change. So the fact that they don't now,
With respect to the docks and piers, we don't know that.
I wouldn't assume that. That hasn't changed since
That ha-
90.
That hasn't changed since they created the maps.
okay.
It's a very old map.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
just-
you know, new docks in the Pleasant Bay estuary, I mean, it's pretty prohibitive.
I thought there was a moratorium on it.
It is,
Well,
but
but
look
there
what-
are still areas within Pleasant Bay where
Look what
you
Pleasant Bay Boating
can
did.
apply for and receive permission to put in docks and
ABCD
piers.
is probably the
Pleasant Bay Boating is a good example of a good pier project that benefits handicapped, it benefits numerous towns, and I just wouldn't want to create an awkward situation.
Yeah, but I think what we're saying here is that you can't do it. What it's saying is that if you have dock or pier, it automatically is presumed to have a significant or a cumulative effect, adverse effect. It's just saying that it has the effect, it's not saying that you can't have it. That's the way I read it. I've read this section.
Okay, you may be right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just saying,
No, okay,
we automatically, you got a docket, we're saying, oh, it's already got a presumed effect there, so that's all we're saying. We're not saying you can't do it. You can't have it. It may be prohibited, but not necessarily.
so then if we're gonna include this here, I think we need to update our dock and pier regulations to reflect that.
And I guess that's what I was trying to say.
Okay,
I think that
I was turning it around backwards, but yes, David, that's what I was trying to say.
okay. So I can look at that and see, make sure that they agree with each other, because to David's point, we don't want to be like, oh, it says it here and it says it different there.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Right. Want consistency.
Okay, I
Yeah.
stand corrected.
It's a good point.
I don't have anything else, Drucy. I know John hasn't had a chance to dive into this. He's been
Yeah.
very busy.
Barn builder.
Doing a great job.
I do. Yeah, all right. Anybody else? Tim?
Just to Dave's point, as far as the market value and stuff, as far as the state goes, if you got into a legal battle, I believe the definition is, for the state, would be the highest value that could be, that they would base it on as far as market value. It's just a point that I wanted to.
I don't believe the state definition says that.
No, it doesn't.
Says you may choose. It's up to the applicant to choose.
Right.
Whether he
But
wants to
in
use
a-
oppressed or
okay.
assessed. And obviously, they will choose the highest.
Right.
Sometimes not, in my experience, but I'm just pointing out that in the appraisal field, maybe it's not in these regulations, but from what I've known, when you go into court, you are going for the highest market value.
So,
And that is the date of the court date. I'm just saying.
okay.
It's just a point.
So to that end, including appraised or assessed, it gives people the leeway. The market was just, I mean, you can see it's in yellow. That was one suggestion at some point, not for us, but in general. Obviously, that's appraisal sort of covers that
Covers
end of it. So if people agree, we can keep appraised or assessed in the definition.
Totally agree with that.
Yeah, okay.
Tracy, procedural question. When we get ready to approve these, do these have to go to town council?
I'm sure they have to go through town council, they have to
They have
go
to go
through
through-
one or more public hearing. You know, we'd want to make sure we have a lot of education on this. And then, of course, it has to go through town meeting as well. So people will have a lot of opportunity to become familiar with them and to give feedback to the commission. David?
So, that being said, I don't want to complicate this, but we need to address our entire wetlands regulations.
True.
We need to,
True.
and is that something that we should, since it's got to go to town meeting, and hopefully by then I will be a regular member to help present it at town meeting. Do we want to include that along with this as the town planning department recently did with the zoning bylaw? They brought their entire zoning bylaw in, and it was changed and approved at town meeting. And we could talk to George Meservey about that process and how I mean, we don't want everybody going through line item for line item of these proposed changes at town meeting. I'm just throwing it out there.
I think that to go through and update and revise all of our existing regulations is a bigger, more complicated task. To put that onto this would so complicate this that it could hold it up and be a very long process. So I would say, good thought, but no.
Okay.
I would,
But that's one
I would like to
person's.
comment that a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I can't even remember, since it goes so quickly, we did have a fairly extensive effort into rewriting
did.
the whole thing, and we still have that available. Now, we
do.
probably want to take another look at it and change that, but some of that process has already been done, and we spent a good 6, 8 months doing that. So we still have that someplace.
I guess
within
we
that.
have to weigh the importance of, I mean, in terms of climate resilience, we have to weigh the importance of getting this stuff in place more quickly, or do we feel that that's not important and we should combine the two efforts? That's the equation I see.
So a piece of that was in going through those past revisions, one of the overarching guidelines that we were looking at was the line between regulation and bylaw in order to avoid a more complicated process of going to town meeting. I'm going to suggest that if we're going through and looking to completely revise all these things, that there may well not, but there may well be some additional or different kinds of regulations that we would add if in fact it's going to be the same process. So I hear what you're saying, Jerry, that we did this before, but that was under one set of circumstances, and now it's a very different set of circumstances. So I don't know that there wouldn't be a much bigger process.
I mean, we can go to town meeting again with other
we can.
regulation changes.
So I guess,
I just wanted to throw it out there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a good thought, and, you know, I had been thinking on it. Again, it's just a question of how urgent we feel these regulations are, because I think adding in the rest is going to delay the process significantly.
so if I can jump in, I think that we want to keep the conversation targeted on these regs. If there are regulations like docks and piers that we need to change
Vis-à-vis these.
vis-à-vis these, then do that, but keep the conversation targeted on this at
Coastal
the
resilience.
moment, and coastal resiliency, and then go back another time.
Okay. Anybody
Especially
else
since this
opinion
is the
on that?
first time we'll be doing it.
Yeah, I know, it'll be, we don't, Ken.
See, I focused on section D, rightly or wrongly, the additional performance standards. And then in D3 and D4, the word substantial is used a bunch of times. Do you anticipate that we're going to have to put some flesh on that?
That's why we have a definition of substantial. Substantial damage and substantial improvement definitions are suggested additions. And that's where we get into the 50% or more of the appraised or assessed value. That's where we get into that.
Ties to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Comment too, but John had one first.
Yeah,
I am,
John.
I have my hand up too. I have been through all this hard work and just a few times to read it. I think like the previous speaker, section D is of interest because it starts now to drill down to the areas of the flood zone that are now being differentiated by FEMA, the MOA and the MEWA. And I brought the viewer with me today because I know there are a number of buildings in Orleans, and the commission has identified those buildings on this publicly accessible viewer. And I don't know, where we were a week before is on like process and outreach. So I don't, is Chatham like emailing these property owners that are in MOA and MEWA and like
I do not,
inviting them to workshops?
I don't know.
Over these performance standards? Is it affects?
Yeah,
My
I mean,
thought train, does it
I
affect?
don't know if they are, but we can, I mean, you know.
I just, to Ken's point, it's, and I think what FEMA wants is that if you have to undergo a repair that's flood compliant, not that we're taking your house down or anything.
Oh, no,
like that.
I
So
mean,
it's,
anything existing exists, I mean, you know, not
but I think we need to
taking,
reach out to our residents here that are in these zones. You're one of them.
Yeah, no kidding. Do you think I'm putting any more money into that property?
Once I your house on there.
Take your time on that
I
one.
want to say that.
Do you think I'm building anything there?
No, but like in the event of repairs are needed after substantial damage, like, I think I would like to know more about how do we communicate with those folks? What's the state of the art of a modern repair? You know, what do we want to see in these areas that performs? That just, like, to me, that's like the next step, because now we have, it's kind of nice that we have now some subzones within the floodplain that we're all focusing on.
Yep.
And we want performance out of those zones. I just don't know, how do we talk to the people that lie within them and are subject to hazards and damage, and how do we want them to rebuild if they come in, and how do we get a better performing floodplain?
Well, some of that is in here, and in terms of community outreach, we will have to do a lot of it. I mean, you know, to my earlier point, we do have some help in that area from the folks who gave the grant to Chatham. I know they're helping Chatham. They can help us to describe to folks what all this really means. But from Orleans' perspective, yeah, we can directly reach out to people who would be directly affected.
I mean, I love the upcoming hurricane season as a way to try to engage these residents that are in these MOA and MEWA zones. There's real concern over these zones. And apologies, if you've already talked about some of the stuff, I haven't been to your last couple.
No, I mean, we know we want to look at if there are any additional structures, property stuff that will be affected by the zone changes. But to be clear, this doesn't add any jurisdiction.
No, understood.
Yeah.
But it does create new performance standards for the
Does.
jurisdiction we have. So, and perhaps Heather and the commission and Ann down there can give us a list of these pink dwellings that they've so nicely mapped on this coastal floodplain data viewer. And if you haven't looked at it, I've looked at it a bunch of times. I can't do real analysis on it, but we could probably get Ann to do that for us down at the commission.
Yeah.
And then we can, you know, we could do a mailing, we could do a workshop, whatever Chatham's doing. But we fell short before on outreach, so we need to do a better job. We could just, there's people in this building now that are experts in this. I'm not one of them.
Yeah,
But there are other people that we can lean on to create some public awareness.
Yep.
If storms coming up in a particular time of year, it'd be fun to engage them and talk about what the state of the art is within these zones. And,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would think maps
Yeah,
would be imperative.
Yeah.
To let people know who are affected. And I just have a question as far as jurisdiction goes. Let's say we had a major storm, let's just say there's a breach at Nauset Beach, a big one, and lets a lot of the Atlantic Ocean water come in at certain tides. Wouldn't that increase our jurisdiction if the high tides
Well,
flooded certain other areas?
I mean, nature is increasing our jurisdiction.
It won't until the FEMA updates their maps.
got
So
it.
we're
Everything
tied.
is based on FEMA.
Okay,
So-
that's,
And Tim, while that might change the tidal regime and the mean tide elevations, got to remember the floodplain is like a buffer on that.
right.
That reaches into an elevation that showed on the firms. And there's now subzones of it. So that wouldn't change so quickly with a barrier system change like you're speaking about.
It was just just an example, but I just didn't know if it would change the 100-foot jurisdiction. But if you're saying that's going to be changed by maps, I understand that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, FEMA did it in 1992. Then they most recently did it in 2014.
That's right.
So it's not going to happen in the near future, unless there is a catastrophic storm event.
That's all I'm saying.
But, I mean, a new break in the barrier beach to help Town Cove, wouldn't that be nice?
I pray every day.
Ginny?
So I thought, you mentioned that it's mostly been Chatham, Harwich, and Orleans. Brewster has had some experience, Brewster Conscom has had experience with this on Cape Cod Bay. They do have bylaws and regs that cover how often you can rebuild and that sort of thing. So even though they're not part of this,
Well, they,
with Pleasant Bay, they
yeah,
have had
we can take a look at those.
properties that had to be repaired or removed.
I mean, they were invited to be part of this effort. They may feel they already have it covered.
That may be true.
Yeah, so,
Also, just a different body
yeah,
of
I'll take a
water.
look at Brewster's
Yeah, I-
stuff.
I think in the past, Chatham and Orleans typically applied whatever the Pleasant Bay Alliance was coming up with for Pleasant Bay to the rest of their waterways. Brewster and Harwich did not. You know, there were probably exceptions within that, but just as a general ongoing operating, standard operating procedure, that was kind of their way.
So I think
Freshwater
Harwich,
ponds, I mean, everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
think in terms of, the coastal, the land sub coastal storm flowage, Harwich is working on adopting these. So Harwich is in the effort with Chatham and Orleans, and other towns on the Cape are also doing this. It's not just Pleasant Bay Alliance towns, it's just that we're sort of teaming together to help each other out.
Okay.
So, and to, pool our resources and that type of thing. So Harwich is part of this effort. Well, they're just a little further behind. Or they're probably on the sort of the same.
Well, and I
path we
think
are.
they always participated in the past in discussions, but then
Yep.
when it came to applying it throughout their town, they would pretty much apply it only to the Pleasant Bay areas and not
Yeah.
to their non-Pleasant Bay waterways. But again, that was, it's neither here nor there. But Orleans and Chatham, for whatever reason, just always did and always have. If it got approved for Pleasant Bay, it got approved for Town Cove,
Town Cove.
Cape Cod
I mean,
Bay.
it should be, right?
Yeah.
Are there any other specific comments on, yep, go ahead, Jerry.
All right, and this is in D1, number 5. It says, use of storage of hazardous material, including without limitation petroleum products. A lot of people heat and, use propane or oil for heat. So basically, doesn't this say that, oh, you can't use that anymore? You can't have that in there. If you have an oil tank, it's limiting that, and D8 is basically the same thing that I worry about.
Well, I think, when people build in a flood zone, the state building code requires that all machinery and equipment servicing the dwelling be elevated to a minimum of 1 foot above the BFE. So maybe we need to be more specific in that regard, that
And regardless of location, don't oil tanks now have to be inside and double-sided?
no,
No?
they can be out, they just
They have-
need to be
they-
double-sided.
They
be
still
double-sided.
need to be double-sided. They can be outside.
Okay.
They gotta be
That-
double-sided.
But they have to be
That's an
above
interesting
ground.
point.
Yeah, because you say it should not be stored. Well, you're storing it, and it doesn't matter what the tank is, whether it's a quadruple-sided tank, you're still storing it there. So
Should
I
we-
think you have to try to make.
Should we include something about the BFE,
We can,
BFE?
yeah.
base flood elevation?
Yeah.
On these maps, that's the elevation that determines,
So, David, my notes, just, I think we explicitly require utilities to be elevated,
yeah,
flood-proofed, based upon BFE or the land submerged. So that, I just think that we haven't looked at that. I haven't looked at it until I started reading this, that it's the utilities that I think that we just need to be able to guarantee it's out of the floodplain or out of the flood zone. And that's the difficulty.
You might not be able to get out of flood zone, but what do you do? So
Yeah.
people can't
So
have.
you elevate it.
Elevate it.
Yeah, then you
gotta
have
elevate it.
then you
Yeah.
have
It
electric.
doesn't say anything here, it just says you can't have it.
Yeah,
That's like,
so
well,
we'll add that in, yeah.
It's
Good
a little
point.
bit of,
no, that's a good
No,
point.
this is why we're discussing it.
tell people they can't have heat. And then number, in the same area, D11, might be ignorance, but
Oh, yeah, down here, yeah.
natural-based flood protection measures that allow for movement of sediment and resources. I don't know what natural-based flood protection measures could be.
Marshes?
So maybe you need a definition.
A sacrificial dune, which it kind of goes on to talk
Yeah,
about.
marshes and dunes.
Well, marsh doesn't, does that marsh allow for movement of sediment and resources?
Oh, well,
Okay,
Or, you know, like beach grass?
It slows down wave action.
yeah, slows down wave actions, sure, absorbs.
Allow for sediment. I just don't know.
Sediment does move through
That's
marshes.
fine, I just,
Yeah,
I don't know.
We'll-
That
we'll
kinda
define it.
To define it,
Yeah.
yeah. A little open-ended for me. I just have to say, what is that anyway?
okay, we'll define it.
Oh,
That's all my
Comments?
maybe say what it isn't.
Dick, you have stuff?
I have an answer to Jerry's question, but we can go to that at another time. I'm also looking at how we decide some of these projects as large or small, so that decks or a smaller project versus a house that's a mansion type of idea, do we require flood analysis? For instance, we have one, that we're looking at now. Do you do a flood analysis to a project that is right within the land of submerged and PFE, and you're sitting here going, so I kind of require no adverse impact flood analysis only for larger projects. But what is a larger project?
What is a flood analysis? I mean, it's incumbent upon the engineer to come in and provide us with all this information, but I think what is a flood analysis?
What is it? How
mean,
does someone analyze it to say there will be no impact or no increased impact? That's what
So
we're dealing with.
Keeping it open just allows an engineer to come in and say, I've analyzed the impacts, I've addressed your performance standards. I don't know.
So I do believe also it's got to be broad,
Yeah,
but there has to me, there just has to be
well, I mean, it's kind of akin to our discussion about cumulative effect or aesthetics. There's wiggle room in there, but again, it's up to the applicant to negate concerns and meet the regulation based on that,
I think what I was getting at, David, is that there's got to be a certain way to, that we can see how water moves. There's got to be a way, if you put in 3 pilings and you're in a saltwater pond, Aries Pond, let's say, or whomever, Mill Pond, and as that water is in its natural flow, it's going to react for new construction within this V zone, or, it's MOFA zone. So it's just something that I looked at and said, how do you define this?
I don't think you necessarily need to. I think it's up to the applicant to demonstrate that to us, and we've put it in the performance standards. No?
Kind of
Is it?
similar
I think
to
Go ahead.
looking at various approaches. You don't you just basically say you need to look at the various approaches to doing this. We don't go up and say, you must look at this, 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 and this.
I mean, all the years, close to 30 years that I represented people before the Conservation Commission, it was on a wing and a prayer. You come in and you tell them it's my job to demonstrate to you that I'm compliant, that the applicant's complying with these performance standards, and it has to, it's always been a negotiation, and it should always continue to be a negotiation.
Yeah, so, but again, I guess what I was trying to say is like the alternatives analyses. But I have to say that there are times that I think the alternatives analyses that we get are useless. Someone just stands up and says, okay, this, and this won't work.
I-
And then
and
they
that's
go
what-
on to say, and that's their alternatives analysis. It's like, really? But there's nothing that tells you what you must do.
But it's
for-
up to us to,
Well, yeah, I mean, if
say,
you've done a
okay,
good one, your project might get
prove it.
approved.
Yeah,
Right.
so.
I think it's
on
okay
us.
being vague. No, I mean, no, not, I'm talking about this.
I'm safe.
I didn't mean it, never mind.
I think we got the point.
John, yeah, I was going to shoot you for comments, if you have any on the subject.
I just, I had a question on, so redevelopment sites is
Where are you?
section F. It's called redevelopment sites, but
Yeah.
that's like the majority of our Tuesday mornings, because redevelopment is defined as replacement or renovation.
Hmm.
So that's like,
50%,
okay, all right, but
I think.
there, F1 is a footprint limitation, and then F3 is an elevation requirement. Like, I think I'd want to look at these real close, because I think there's a lot of work in here for properties and residents and commission, but like, in F3, like we did one not too long ago, where they chose wet flood compliance, not elevation. Did you guys discuss any of that? Like, where we have a performing foundation, but it's a wet flooding foundation? But, or is every building in the floodplain gonna go way up in the air now?
Wasn't that above the base flood elevation anyway?
Not part of the foundation, because they chose wet flooding, which is,
Didn't they raise it
No.
eventually?
oh, you mean, so was the lower floor joist a foot above?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'd have to look at that. So, all right. So
Yeah.
the foundation can still be flood compliant. It says the structure.
I mean, it's state building code.
Exactly.
I'm just trying to understand like
I
the,
mean, we reference the state building code, and, you know, you can't get around that.
Nope.
but does that mean like everything in the floodplain is going pile supported, or is it still wet flooding? I don't know, just detail
Not-
stuff.
Not necessarily.
So that's just the entire building?
So as far as, I'm just going to go sort of off of FEMA as far as what I know in my experience and what I've seen, and like, a good example would be maybe Fairhaven, where if a building gets, even in Situate, a building gets destroyed, FEMA will, for now, I guess the last regulations, you have one chance to get it right, restore it.
That's right.
And so you have to raise it up to, and I don't know if it's above state code or what FEMA's regulations.
Well,
And I didn't know if,
That's the map.
so these regs state that you get one chance to rebuild, and if it gets destroyed again, that's it. So that sort of adheres to that,
okay.
yeah. I mean, we don't want people rebuilding to the finest point,
No,
and then it
they
gets
wouldn't
wiped
get
out
the
in the
FEMA
next
funding for
hurricane,
one.
and, you know, people should be smart about saving their property. Go ahead, John.
Can, we discussed, like, if we want to drill down to try to do outreach, should we be looking at just like properties with buildings in MOA and MIWA, or should we be looking at properties with?
All properties, the whole town. I mean, this
think-
isn't just property owners within jurisdiction. Everyone should be involved in being able to comment on these.
I think properties, not just buildings.
Properties count because we talk about pools and fences and decks and patios. It's everything, yeah.
All right, I'm going to chase down some parcelized list from the commission's viewer.
I mean, bottom line, we're trying to get all this stuff out of what is going to become, you know,
Yes.
I mean, sea level is rising. It's coming, and we need to migrate away, or we're just going to be
Well, I wouldn't
spending a
say
lot of
get out
money.
But perform.
Perform.
Don't say get out of in your draft.
True enough.
A lot of it's
Sorry,
asking for
I misspoke.
performance in the flood.
But we have to protect it, the property and, you know, the resources.
Right.
So that's what we're trying to do. And be smart about it and look forward to the fact that this is happening. It's not,
And we have to have the tools to help property owners make good decisions.
yeah, I mean, we don't want people spending money over and over again trying to repair property when,
And it's prohibitively expensive.
yeah.
It is.
I mean, I think they're gonna have, any applicant's
I'm just gonna
gonna
move.
need a good,
Oh, yeah.
Don't, there's no repair.
No one's looking at you.
So to John's earlier point, I don't love that hurricane season is coming.
Josie, I have one more comment, and it's more a summary type of idea. The Cape Cod Commission seems to be leading us to adopt a new construction within the V zone, so are we all?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we're in accordance with that.
Already in a
It's already
resource
in
area,
place. I
yeah.
just wanted to verify that that's
Yeah.
still in place.
Can I ask a follow up on that? Did they, like, how do they get around like the regulatory taking conundrums that sometimes comes up when we don't have like,
I don't know, it
No, it's
hasn't
one
come
thing
up
that-
yet because, you know, we
usually
haven't.
we set a high bar, but we don't say it's a ban to kind of work around that per se, but,
I mean,
and I don't know what we say in zoning about velocity zoning. I think we already have.
I
that.
don't think,
you can't build.
it really, it depends on the
Is that discussed?
pockets, the deep pockets of the applicant, and if they're willing to go through the process and appeal it. I don't think we need to worry about that.
Okay. I didn't know if you had discussed it, or, I know there
No,
was a
we didn't
case in
discuss it.
Falmouth
We
not long
haven't.
ago, or.
It hasn't come up, but I can ask if it came up in Chatham.
Drucy?
Yep.
Does the group have a timeline as far as maybe getting these into, I want to say, town, I guess, meetings, or?
So if we were going to be aggressive, we could try to get these into the fall town meeting. Would that be an aggressive timeline? Means the commission would have to approve these with whatever changes we feel are necessary, pretty much at our next meeting, so that we can then start advertising public meetings and gathering public input and, you know, reaching out to people we know are
Okay,
going to be affected.
that's where I was sort of going. I
So if
want-
the commission feels that's too aggressive, we can shoot for spring instead, but certainly within the next year.
Okay.
I just think we should keep moving along.
I do too.
I don't think we need to concern ourselves with whether it's a fall special or spring, just, if we keep moving along in a deliberate fashion, I think it'll become self-evident for us.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But I certainly don't want the commission to sit around lingering on this. I mean, take a look,
Right.
decide, send comments, let's get it buttoned up, and take it from there. But I don't want to rush you guys, because this is a lot of material, it's a lot to think about. It's, go back and relook at the presentation, go to the Pleasant Bay Alliance, and there's a link with all the material that describes all of this stuff. So study, you know, come up with other questions. I will continue to talk to Chatham about how their process is going and what kind of feedback they're getting, so we can sort of preempt questions and understand what people are concerned about and study that some more, and if we have to make changes to regs based on that, we can. But, yeah, let's keep moving.
I just want to say thank you for the entire group.
No, thank you.
in doing all this.
No, everybody, I mean, Dick wrote a great paper on it, and, you know, David's knowledge on this has been invaluable, so we've, I think we're at a good starting point. We just need to. So keep studying. If you have any comments, please just email them to me, and I will add them in and pass out a
So,
new draft to the
Can we
working
Can we
group
give everybody a deadline to get comments to Drucy?
next 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Is that enough for everybody?
Homework, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And John, we'll do the best we can with you. I know there'll be plenty of time to,
Oh, no.
I know you're super busy the next couple of weeks, so. I'm not
I'd
gonna,
also like to maybe comment on that urge that we have public meetings during the summer.
yeah, with the, yeah,
Because
we need summer people.
I think a lot of
Yes,
the
that's when the
properties that
population
are going to be
grows.
affected are people
Absolutely,
that are
absolutely.
here.
That's part of
and
my
so we can
urgency
hear-
on this, is we want the second
Whether we meet
homeowners
the
to be
the next
involved.
town meeting or not, I think the meeting's got to be
Agreed.
here. Otherwise, you get a handful
Yeah.
of winter people versus summer.
We do have Zoom available, but yeah, I agree that in-person meetings are more effective, and I'd rather have a big representation of people at a public hearing on this.
Right. Good.
Okay,
Suzie, one more question. How would you like, they're all very simple, but edits?
you can send me an edited version with a markup, or you
Okay.
can, or if you want to address specific sections, that's
It's
either way.
just little, like by law would be capital B, lowercase b, that, just little stuff.
Okay, if you can send general comments, and I can do a search and replace and
No,
stuff.
I can, I've got it
Easy
here. I
things
just
like
wondered, yeah,
Or if you have it written, I
yeah,
can tweak it.
and highlighted.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll get you.
Okay. And then, just to be clear, so I will put in edits and then regroup with the working group so that we can review, the working group has a chance to review it, and then we'll bring it back. Okay. All right.
Does Walter have anything to add?
Walter, you missed public comment, but do you have any public comment?
I know, just one footnote, I think on the issue of appraisal versus assessed, that it was, if I remember correctly from the Chatham workshop, that was delegated to the zoning board or the assessors, and they made a single determination as to how the town would treat it. So you
Okay.
might want, you might want to check with, I'm not sure who would be the best resource, maybe George Meserve would know.
Okay.
The other thing, in the Chatham process, one thing you didn't mention in your summary, Suzie, was that they also reached out to other town committees who have a part in this process, like zoning, planning, and the assessors.
Yeah, good point, Walter, and, you know, George has been in on this. Once we get a little more concrete, we'll re-loop him and the other committees in town and make sure that they're seeing this, and if there's, you know, if there are any regs they need to change or that type of thing, we'll work together on that.
Great, thanks.
Thanks, Walter. Okay, other chairman's business, John, you had an update on Pilgrim Lake?
I just, I got an email, I'm just passing around some material for the commissioners, but it's this time of year that a former Commissioner Jamie Ballier usually puts his drone up over the public swim area at Pilgrim, and the good news is we're in pretty decent shape with the nuisance vegetation at the public swim area. And we do have an order for hand pulling that we've not utilized yet. I don't even know how we would do that. But I'm just gonna pass these around just so you can see. It's a pretty good report card, I would say, but I think Jamie is just keeping me on the concept and on the swim area, and I thank him for that. And I also thank him for his aerial imagery assistance.
So if there's any minor hand pulling we want to do this year, just to keep up so it doesn't turn into a big mess like.
We have the order that allows that. Yeah, I don't know what that work effort looks like, who does that, or
Now, do we
if
do-
anyone has any thoughts.
Guess that's the question.
Do that at low tide?
That's a very good idea, David.
I think with a drought, it pretty much is.
It
low
is
tide.
low tide.
Pretty much, but you know, the run held through last weekend, so
Yeah.
I think, which
Yeah.
was really either a real kudos to natural resources, or, because I think they did a great job of releasing it just very slowly and just enough to keep sufficient water in the run for the herring to get through. Yeah, if there is to be hand pulling, I would just have to say that it needs very close supervision. We do not want to put the word out to people that go out there and hand pull because there's an order in place to do so.
Are you offering to jump in a bathing suit, or?
I would be happy to do hand pulling if it is required and/or to supervise.
I think you'd need a badge.
I don't know how we're organizing that, or if we're gonna do it.
Just bringing up the
I don't know.
question, yeah,
We're gonna watch the veg come up here pretty aggressively in the next probably 4 weeks.
yeah.
What's up?
I just, you know, if we can
My
do a
pond's
little
totally
bit
covered
every
already.
year as opposed to waiting and
Yeah,
doing
already,
major
it is
effort.
completely covered already. So the vegetation has been early this year, I think both because of low water. I would say temperature, but the pond temperatures aren't
pretty cold.
warm. It's been cool.
What's the optimal time of year to do it?
Vegetation pulling?
Midsummer.
So, I mean, in terms of recreational use, it would be pretty much right now in this month. In terms of environmental benefit and health of pond, I would say fall, because then you're giving the opportunity for the vegetation to uptake nutrients throughout the summer growing season, to be then removed and pulled before the fall season. But, you know, in a pond this size with this small an area, I couldn't get excited about, you know, the level of what the difference might be. And the fact that this is being done for recreational usage speaks to doing it now and not waiting until October. Does John agree with that?
I do, well, yeah.
Just have no one to do it.
I would probably, like, yeah, when you're trying to set back plants, you want them to put out carbohydrate stores above ground. So it's like kind of a combo. Yeah, right now, or after they fully leaf out, just go get them.
Unfortunately, I'm going to be away for a few weeks, so.
Commission swim party.
It's really shallow, I think, within that roped area, which is the area where the vegetation would be removed. First, we'd want the ropes up before we
Yes.
did that. But within that area, I don't think the water is even chest deep on me. So, which is why it's so great for little kids. I mean, it
For
goes
the
out
record,
very, very
Judith isn't very tall.
not very tall.
For the record.
All right, so worth mentioning, and I don't know, if you hear of any volunteers to do it. I mean, it's certainly swimmable this year, you know. Maybe we try to put together an effort in the fall to keep it down for
Maybe
next
next
year.
spring.
I don't know.
Next spring.
Anyway, okay, so update, and then also a big shout out to both John and Christina for massive work that's been going on the barn out at Putnam. It is coming together. If you haven't been out there, go check it out. It's really cool. But I know John has been putting in a Herculean effort, and Christina has as well, so thank you guys. Appreciate it. Okay. Next order of business, meeting minutes of 5/5/26. Can I get are there any comments? Can I get a motion?
I move to approve the meeting minutes for 5/5/2026.
Second.
Those in favor, Tim?
Aye.
Jenny?
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
Judith?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Tracy, aye. Ken?
Aye.
And a move to approve a motion to approve the meeting minutes of 5/19/26. Are there any comments? Hearing none, go ahead.
I move to approve the meeting minutes for 5/19/2026.
Second.
Those in favor, Tim?
I was
Aye.
Jenny?
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
Judith?
Aye.
Jerry? Tracy, aye. Ken? Aye. And a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.